So to continue with the qualities of the Dharma refuge, again from Gyu Lama, we're going to be, yesterday we did the Buddha jewel. Today we're doing the Dharma jewel. Okay, so the Dharma jewel consists of the last two of the four truths of Aryas, true cessations and true paths. Okay, so the true cessations are the complete abandonment of a portion of the defilements of the mind. So they may be afflictive obscurations, a portion of those, or a portion of the cognitive obscurations that have been eliminated. The true cessations is a permanent phenomena. Okay, and it's the emptiness of the mind that is free from a certain portion of afflictions. What brings about the true cessations are the true paths, and the true paths are minds that are informed by the wisdom realizing the ultimate nature of reality, their emptiness of inherent existence. Okay, so whereas the Buddha jewel has all of the true cessations and all of the true paths, to be the Dharma jewel, it just needs to be a true path or a true cessation. Okay, in other words, they can be the true paths or true cessations in the minds of the Sangha jewel. They don't have to be in the minds of in the continuum of the Buddha jewel. So when we're talking about true cessations, there's two factors. The natural purity, which is again their emptiness of inherent existence, which is their ultimate nature, and then the purity of the adventitious defilement. So the purity of the mind that has removed those defilements, okay? Adventitious meaning temporary, because in Buddhism, all of the defilements of the mind are temporary. They all have antidotes, can be removed. And then the true paths that bring those about, here we emphasize the uninterrupted paths and the liberated paths. So the uninterrupted path is a mind that is directly realizing emptiness, that is in the process of eliminating a certain portion of the afflictions. And when that uninterrupted path finishes removing it, it uninterruptedly passes on in the same meditation session without any break, and then it gets called a liberated path, which is the wisdom realizing emptiness that is completed, eliminating that certain portion of defilements that was to be eliminated in that portion of the path. Okay? So in Sublime Continuum, there's a verse about the Dharma jewel I'll read, and it lists the 8 qualities, and then we'll go through those. Okay? So it says, that which is inconceivable, without the two, without conception, pure, clear, and of the antidotal class, that which is free from attachment and frees from attachment, that bearer of the character of the last 2 truths is the Dharma jewel. Okay, so the first quality is the excellent quality of being inconceivable. So here, inconceivable, it's one of those words that means different things in different contexts. Here it means that it can't be conceived of exactly as it is according to the logicians who get very tangled up in confused logical reasonings. Okay, so the example they give is of the tetralemma, saying things are not existent, not non-existent, not both, not neither. And then these logicians don't know how to properly understand that. And then they say, yeah, things are neither existent nor non-existent, and they're some kind of spacey, ineffable something that's inconceivable, but that's not that's not what true cessations are, okay, or true paths for that matter. So here, inconceivable means that those logicians with those kind of confused views cannot conceive, exactly what the Dharma jewel is all about. Okay, and so this is referring specifically to the true cessations. Yeah, so the true cessations, like all phenomena, exist by being merely designated in dependence on a basis of designation. They're realized by a non-dualistic mind in which subject and object have been fused, like water poured into water. Okay. Then the second quality is being without the two. So here, what the two that it's without are the portion of afflictions that are, that it's the freedom of, and the polluted karma that it's also the freedom from. Because afflictions and polluted karma, they're the cause of samsara. So here, when you're developing true paths and true cessations, you're eliminating these causes of samsara. So it's free of a portion of those two. Yeah, and this freedom, again, has to be experienced by the individual. It can't be described by words. Yeah, but I think we can get a little bit of a hint if you think of what would it be like to never get angry again, no matter how somebody talked to you, what they said, anything. They could say, do anything, but inside you, anger would never arise. And you had the confidence that anger would never arise. And you were not suppressing that anger either. It's just that the anger and the seed of anger were completely gone. Yeah, that would be really nice, wouldn't it? Okay. So that gives us a little feeling of what it might be like. Then the third quality is of being without conceptualizations. So the Dharma jewel is free from the conceptualizations that give rise to afflictions, such as seeing permanent things, impermanent things as permanent, things that are foul in nature as beautiful, things that are unsatisfactory in nature as being pleasant. So all those kind of wrong conceptualizations or wrong inattentive attentions, okay? And it's also free of all conceptualization of true existence, okay? So here you have to remember conceptualization, even though they call it conceptual thought or conceptualization, it's not referring to our gross conceptual processes, like me thinking in words to myself. It's a much more subtle type of conceptualization where the mind, is grasping to things existing in a certain way and not even realizing that it's doing that. Okay? Then the fourth quality is the excellent quality of purity, meaning that the Dharma jewel is not mixed with any of the obscurations. So it's free of any kind of obscuration that prevents it from realizing the nature of reality directly. Okay? And that's because the Arya paths are wisdom consciousnesses directly realizing emptiness. At least that, how they're being spoken of here. And then the fifth one is the excellent quality of clarity, meaning that the Dharma jewel clearly knows the mode of existence of all phenomena. Okay, so it's not confused about the mode of existence. It's free of attachment and apathy and anger and all of that. Okay, and then the sixth quality is it's of the antidotal class. Okay, so this was the point that I couldn't remember from before. When we're talking about true cessations, we're talking about the eradication of afflictions and their seeds by a mind that is of the antidotal class. In other words, a mind that realizes emptiness. So the reason we're doing that is because, you may be sitting here listening right now and you're not angry, right? So in one way, we can say there's a cessation of anger in your mind, but that's not a true cessation because it's not brought about due to a wisdom consciousness that uproots the cause of the anger and the seed of anger. It's brought about simply because you haven't bumped into something that's making you mad at this moment. But the seed of anger still exists, so the possibility for anger still exists, okay? But the true path is of the antidotal class. In other words, it perceives things the exact opposite way from the way ignorance holds things. And thus it can overcome ignorance. And thus the true cessation that you're left with is, something that that cannot change, cannot degenerate at all. Once that portion of afflictions is eliminated, it's gone for good. It can't come back. Nice, huh? That's real security. Everybody's looking for security these days. I think true paths and true cessations are the real security. Yeah, financial security we're never going to have. Yeah, relationship security also unpredictable. Yeah, but this kind of security through our spiritual practice is something that's attainable. Then the seventh quality of the Dharma jewel is the excellent quality of true cessations. So that embodies those first three qualities: being inconceivable, being free of a portion of the afflictions and the polluted karma, and being without conceptualization. Yeah? But yeah, that one's without the conceptualization. So there's no appearance of true existence or grasping at it. So the seventh one summarizes the first three. The eighth one, the excellent quality of true paths, summarizes the second three. Okay? So the qualities of purity, of clarity, and of being of the antidotal class. So those three are the qualities of true paths. Okay? So to be a Dharma jewel, you don't need to have all 8 qualities, you just need to have some of them. Yeah? So for example, the liberated path, yeah, it only has the qualities of true cessations. It doesn't have the qualities of true paths, even though, it has the quality of true paths, but not of true cessations, because the liberated path itself is something that's conditioned and impermanent, and true cessations are permanent. Okay, so with the Buddha jewel, you need all 8 qualities. With the Dharma jewel, you only need some of them. Okay, so, and another example they give is that an uninterrupted path is a true path, okay, but a true cessation hasn't yet been actualized. Yeah, because remember, a true path is, an uninterrupted path, you're kicking the thief out, and the liberated path, you're locking the door behind. Okay. Yeah.
So then could a solitary realizer, if you're have all of those qualities without freeing themselves from the cognitive obscurations?
Yes.
All of them?
Yeah. Yeah. And an arhat, would have, I think, all of these. Yeah. Yeah, because it says it applies to the aryas of the three vehicles. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm getting confused about the Dharma. Any of these jewels themselves are the person, or the minds, the cessations and the passing minds of the person. Like
Okay.
the Sangha, like that.
Yeah, they're all the qualities of the mind. They're not talking about the person so much. I think the Sangha is talking about the person. No, actually it's not. It's again talking about true cessations and true paths. Yeah? So usually when you talk about Buddha, that includes all four kayas. You have to say Arya Buddha if you're talking about the person, a person who is a Buddha. Okay? Because the omniscient mind of the Buddha is not a Buddha, is not a person. Okay? The nature truth body is not a person. They're attributes of a person. Yeah? They're basis of designation of the Arya Buddha. But remember, the basis of designation and the designated object are not the same thing. Well, yeah.
But that's not the Buddha jewel.
No, I said the conventional.
The conventional Buddha jewel. Yeah.
Is that when you understand a little bit more about what the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha is, then you see why they are such reliable objects of refuge rather than concretizing them into inherently existent something.
Yeah.
else.
Okay, so this kind of explanation helps you understand exactly what the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha jewels are. And that's why I'm going through this, even in the context of a text that, is a very general text that's meant just kind of for the people off the street, because I think it is important for people to understand exactly what the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha are. Usually when they teach the topic of refuge, they give very simple explanations, like one of my teachers would say, it's like when you're a little child and a big dog comes to bark at you and you're scared, you run to your mama, so you take refuge with mama. So that is, they say it's that kind of feeling, of you're going to the three jewels of refuge. So that gives you some, if you're really new and not thinking deeply about stuff, that gives you something. But I think that people nowadays, His Holiness is really encouraging everybody to learn and study. And, I think people really want a better Dharma education now and aren't content just with simply knowing kind of the general things. They want to understand better. So that's why I'm explaining it in this context.